Ladies and gentlemen, episode 254, Stogie Geeks. We have live in studio Paul Kubiski from Bootblack Brand, cocktails, sodas, and syrups. We also have a special guest appearance by our very own Rhode Island Jared from Christoph Cigars. And I'm your host this week, Joe Hozempa, along with my co-host, Joe D. We are smoking the 2014 Quesada Oktoberfest. Then we're going to interview Jared, we're going to interview Paul, and then we're going to do Stogies of the Week right here.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geeks Show. Hat tip, can we play that?
Yeah, one more time.
Can I hear a...
Yes!
Yeah!
Enjoy the dirt.
Guests and friends here in studio, including a regular cast of characters, Mr. Joe Hollywood to my right.
How are ya?
That's awesome. Joe D's here. Rain Man's here. What's going on, Joe D?
Roundtable discussions.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
To the Stogie Geeks episode 254, right here, live from the G-Unit Studios in Warwick, Rhode Island. I am your host this week, Joe Hozempa. We had the opportunity to pirate through Paul's humidor, and Joe D and myself had found the 2014 Quesada Oktoberfest. We also have live in studio Paul Kubiski from Bootblack Brand, cocktails, sodas, and syrups. How you doing, Paul?
Awesome. How about yourself, Joe?
I'm doing good. Thanks for coming. We've already started with some of the Bootblack Brand. Paul's going to explain why he's here and how you can get your hands on some awesome cocktails, sodas, and syrup. And we're going to do a demonstration. Co-host, as always, a pleasure, Joe D. How are you?
What's up, gentlemen?
How's everything going?
Great, man.
Did you have a good week?
Of course.
Good. You ready for your sticks of the week?
Always.
All right, I like it. For those of you listeners, just to let you know, Joe D, fascinating moment about an hour right before the show. I walked into the Havana Club next door and saw Joe D on a computer on the wiki. So if you go to the wiki, you go to stogiegeeks.com, click on the Facebook page. You can link to all the show notes. You have Paul's bio and the wiki. And Joe actually posted his own notes. It was epic. It was an epic moment. I was going to take a picture, but we had a lot of craziness going on behind the scenes. So congratulations on your computer, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. You've shamed me into it, and I'm happy to arrive.
And the computer looks good on you.
Thanks, man.
And then person who needs no introduction, all the way at the end, we have Jared from Christoph Cigars. How you doing, sir?
Hello, everybody.
How's everything going?
Oh, things is good, Joe. Things is good. How's things in Hozempa land?
Everything's in Hozempa land is pretty crazy as always.
That's good, man. That's good.
It's all good. But for this segment right now, I want to introduce Paul from Bootblack Brand, and he's going to talk to us about his company, how his company started. And I had met Paul probably a little bit over a year ago. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And
Year
then,
and a half.
one of the things that I explained to him was, hey, I like cigars, I like cocktails. I think you need to come on the show. I think you need to do a demonstration because let me tell you something. It'll change the way that the cigar smoker or the spirit lover thinks about cocktails.
Yeah, I believe so.
If you want to talk to us about the different blends,
Sure.
You want to start
Start
with
at the beginning.
Start with what we're drinking.
Start with what we're drinking. So
Yeah.
this is my play on a. They've been calling it the new old fashioned. A couple of restaurants put this on their bar menus. So this would be nice bourbon. Whatever you have in your cabinet always works. I try not to preference anybody particular. This happens to be a Sons of Liberty Battle Cry with my ginger cardamom lime syrup and a little Angostura. Everybody should have these things on their shelves if you like cocktails and if you like cigars. Makes it really easy to make a unique modern twist on a classic cocktail, and that's what my company's about, updating the classics. So instead of an old fashioned, we're doing a little ginger. Plays great in the winter. Sit in front of the fire, grab yourself a cocktail with your loved one, and it's a great time.
Good friends and good spirits. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, this is the best.
Always a win.
hanging out and having a cocktail and cigar.
It is good. Talk to us about how the company started and what's the because it comes in bottles, and you can go to bootblackbrand.com and check out Paul's selection there. But it comes in different bottles, and those bottles are non-alcoholic, correct?
Correct. So it's
Yep.
a non-alcoholic. I call it a complex cocktail syrup.
Okay.
Difference being a simple syrup is usually one flavor. For instance, ginger syrup. I have ginger, cardamom, lime. There's about 12 ingredients in that mix. So depending on what you play with, what your favorite spirit is, really kind of change the complexion of the cocktail that you're making. And this makes it really easy for the home enthusiasts, or who I call the bootblack. We're not professionals in everything we do, but we still can enjoy a cocktail. And I've found that people take cocktail making too seriously, and I want to show them how easy it is to make cocktails at home, because everybody should be drinking.
Well played, sir. Well played.
That's a message America can get behind.
Right. Talk to us about like from a business component. Like you started. You obviously had to come up with a name.
Right.
Fascinating
Right.
name.
Thank you.
Fascinating concept. Take us through that transition, and then what made you come up? Because last year you started off with two.
Right.
The ginger and the jalapeno.
Then
one.
the cranberry jalapeno came
Yep.
in August.
Yep.
Correct.
And then recently, over 2017, you had released your classic tonic.
Correct.
Right. So
Citrus tonic.
Yep,
Classic citrus tonic.
the classic citrus tonic.
Right.
So that being said, like, take us through all of that transition in business wise, and
Sure.
what has it really been like to just try to go and to penetrate the market? What has it been like to come up with a name? I'm sure that's not an easy task as well.
No, it took months to come up with a name. I'm lucky enough that's what I've been doing for the last 30 years, branding and print. So I'm lucky enough I have that covered.
Right.
So that's been an addition. Boot black, most people see a boot black as a shoe shine, but a secondary definition of a boot black is somebody that may not have any formal training in what they're doing. So a boot black for us would be, none of us are professional bartenders, yet we still like cocktails. Why shouldn't we make classic cocktails at home?
Right.
So that's how how Boot Black began. As I like to say, as many great companies, Boot Black started on a bar stool. And at the time, I was just frustrated with the quality of what was out there, what I was getting at secondary, what I like to call secondary bars and restaurants. So I said, this shouldn't be. Why can't I get a great cocktail wherever I go? It's doable. So that's where I started with the ginger cardamom. I was loving doing old fashions with the ginger, and that's what kicked off Boot Black. That started in May of 16. We were in about 20 locations to start, and we ramped up to, we're between 70 and 75 locations now throughout Rhode Island, a little bit of Mass, and now we're looking to expand outside of Mass, because for this type of commodity item, it's not a fast turnover. You need push. You need width.
Right.
Right. I also think that, realistically speaking, from a marketing perspective, they can purchase your product, and there's a cycle there for the consumer to actually use it.
Right.
So it could be, every 3 months you go through a bottle, or every month, or every year, depending on the frequency.
Sure.
And
Sure.
and the amount of people either that they're entertaining. So I would imagine that a restaurant and bar would obviously go through more if they do a featured cocktail than if you were just selling it to the individual consumer.
Right, and that's been my big push, is getting Boot Black on shelves in bars and restaurants locally. We were lucky enough that the tonic, the ginger and the cranberry were my conceptions, the first two. The third, I was coming out with the tonic, and luckily enough, at the time, I got introduced to Jen Davis at the Eddy. So I know they love to do a gin and tonic on tap.
Right.
So I spoke with Jen, played around, and I have to say that we developed the classic citrus tonic together, which was great to have somebody with that much talent be willing to sit with me and give me her experience.
Right.
So over the summer, you could find a Rhode Island gin and tonic on tap at the Eddy, made with Sons of Liberty, Trueborn Gin, and my classic tonic. And that was a big win. Rhode Island's own gin and tonic. That was pretty cool.
It's you from a business perspective, you're in that craftness, you know,
Right.
and I mean, you know, you can't go anywhere and not look at craft beer, its components, its business structure. You're in the craft marketing in regards to you're in some of the more hipper places, places that, you know, if you it's crazy because I used to order a lot of old fashions whenever I went out, and then I started co-hosting the Stogie Geeks show. And as you know, the host of this show, Paul Azadorian, he's all about the old fashioned with the cigar. And I mean, he gets pretty rowdy with the cherries, a certain type of the cherries, the
Maraschino, Richter, Medley. Oh, yeah.
he gets pretty rowdy with that component.
The muddling, Joe. The muddling is where it's at. Yeah.
We always hear the
Have that
story,
strong wrist.
right? Always before every Stogie Geek episode, he's like, all right, it's all about the muddle. Hold on. You know, so if Stogie Geek starts 7 minutes late and Paul's the host, it's probably because he was muddling.
He was muddling.
The
Nice.
old fashioned,
Hey,
you know.
It'll be worth it.
Give him credit, right?
Yeah. So, you know, from that perspective, how did you get to such like a cranberry jalapeno? How did you get to that?
Well, I wanted something it was the summer that launched in August. I wanted something that was what I felt would be great with tequila, mezcal, rum, summer cocktails. But I want something. I said, you know what? Let's make this New England. It could have been whatever in jalapeno. I said, let's do justice New England. Let's do cranberry.
Right.
So you get the tartness.
Crisp, refreshing.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So you get that tartness to it, which is great in the summer. You get the savoriness of a jalapeno, so it's not really hot. It's actually savory. And then you get a little kick on the back end, which really finishes off a margarita or a Bloody Mary. So that's how I developed that. So homage to New England.
What made you think, like, hey, I'm in branding and development. I'm going to go make syrup. Like, it's a very strange thing.
Well, long story short, I run a design studio, and in 6 months we lost 3 of our largest clients. They were all taken over by larger companies. So we were going from living the high life to destitute really quick because they just came out of nowhere. So all of a sudden I found myself at lower end bars, you know, just a typical bar, neighborhood bars, rather than hanging at the Eddie or the Dorrance or some of these cocktail bars. And that's when it happened where I was just like, I can't get a good drink. Why do I have to drink Jack and Ginger? I love a Jack and Ginger, but I don't want it all the time. And that's what led me down the road of developing my own and just having friends over, making cocktails at home. And one day a friend of mine said, you need to try to sell this. And
Every great invention is based out of necessity.
necessity,
Sure.
yeah. So it's so far it's worked out pretty well. It's it's a hard grind. It's a completely different business than running a design studio.
Oh, yeah.
And just all the intricacies of running something that has ingredients coming in and ingredients going out is just so much bigger than I'm used to.
Yeah.
So it's learning to run a business, learning to the food and beverage business, which I've never been in.
Right. Which is different altogether.
Which is completely different. Yeah.
But you know something, you can, and the Stogie Geeks listener can appreciate this, and Jared, you can probably certainly appreciate this as well. The marketing component is similar to when you put your reps on the road and they're trying to look for penetration for shelf space within a new shop.
Sure. It's super competitive. There's no switching costs. You're selling a widget for the same price as your competition.
Right.
You know? And what differentiates is marketing it. And mostly, I always say that the product that, in my business at least, the product that we put on the floor is not the cigars, it's the sales reps.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Those are the guys that generate the revenue. Those are the guys that have the relationship with the customers. And the product absolutely has to stand on its own. And ours has for 13 years. But the product is really the sales rep. And in your case, the product is you, you know, and what you're able to communicate to the customer.
Right.
So it's a grind.
And there's only so much of me to go around.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
If you follow Paul, you go to bootblackbrand.com. You can follow him on social media. All of the links are there. And it seems like every weekend you're always doing a tasting. You're always doing a sampling. You're always trying to get out to either a restaurant or a bar or a retail liquor store or retail spirits store.
Right.
There. It's the same methodology as Jared and Joe D.
Exactly.
When they're out there pumping the cigars, it's the same thing.
Right.
They do an event. Maybe you give you'll give a discount if they catch up
Right.
live. And
Right.
do that there. They have that in the cigar industry too, and it's such a grind, but that's the only way that you're going to get the products into the hands of the people.
Right.
I do have to say the website is very clean, efficient, and very easy to use and informative as well. So
Yeah, I'd rather have
it's worth a peek for all the listeners.
nice and clean, so people can, just like making a cocktail, it should be easy to follow the story.
Right, clean and uniform.
Yeah.
Right. Are you going to make another drink for us? But what are we going to continue to drink? What are we doing?
Yeah, 'cause I'm a little parched over here, Paul. I gotta be
Yeah,
honest.
Do you have a question for Paul?
more than
just
happy.
In the meantime.
More than happy.
I'm just happy. We're now homegrown and
Yeah.
making it happen.
Yeah, thanks
And,
so much.
Absolutely, this first drink we had. I'm not partial to ginger, or at least I thought I wasn't, and clean and to the point.
Yeah,
And it
thank
definitely
you.
Pairs well with
The ginger just
nice
rounds
cigar.
off those bitters
Doesn't
a
it?
little bit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
So it's not that tanniny kind of sharpness that you usually get from bitters.
Right.
It's just that ginger
Smooth.
kind of overtone.
Yeah.
Smooths it out.
Yeah,
a lot.
I that's my gateway to the dark spirits for people that don't truly believe they like dark spirits. That just kind of eases them in. So that's what I always hand out to somebody first. Like I said, my wife now is a whiskey drinker.
Right.
Never touched it in her life. I don't know if that's good or bad, but so what I thought I'd make for you. I know Joe's a big mezcal guy, so there was a cocktail I came up with called Sweet Thursday. We're going to use a little mezcal, a little yellow chartreuse, some lemon juice, and my Bootblack citrus tonic. And the reason I'm using the tonic today, I wanted to show people we have this bias in America that you don't do tonic in the winter. And anywhere else in the world you go, you can get gin and tonics, you can get tonic cocktails year round.
Right.
So I want to show a different use for my cocktail syrup to show people it makes a great winter cocktail.
Cool.
So what? All right. So what are we gonna have here? You're gonna slice some lemons. Right?
Yeah, we're just gonna do the true recipe would be a half ounce of lemon, half ounce of Bootblack tonic, half ounce of yellow chartreuse, which is delicious on its own also, and a couple ounces of mezcal.
Half of the fun with the cocktails is a little mixing and matching and being your own mad scientist. And you've got the right ingredients here. That's a solid base.
That's what it's all about. It's people say, "Well, I can't do that at home. I don't have that at home." And what I try to tell people is, you don't need much at home
Well, you've already
to
done
make
the
a
heavy lifting
cocktail.
for us. There it is.
It's all done.
Yep. Beautiful. I'm gonna stabilize your chair. I don't want you to
Yeah,
face plant
sure.
on us here.
I don't know what it's been, but I have loved tequila and cigars, Jared.
Really?
Yes, and you know what happened when I did my cigar radio show? I had a Mexican restaurant who was a sponsor, and he's like, "Have you ever done tequila and cigars?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "We should go out and do some." So of course you do it, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like straight tequila and cigars. I just
Delicious.
and then, like I said, about a year ago, I met Paul. He was passing out the samples of the Bootblack, and then I was like, "Oh, this is the and then I combine it with that, and I actually have on my counter the cranberry and tequila, and I don't do it every day, but
Why, but why not?
Twice on Sunday.
contrary,
Antioxidants, baby. Antioxidants.
contrary
all
to
good.
belief. So you mix the mezcal, and then
Yellow chartreuse,
yep,
which is a little lighter, brighter version of the green chartreuse.
okay,
So it's equal parts of that, equal parts of Bootblack tonic syrup. And I'm just going to squeeze some lemon in there just because I know I'm among friends. And hopefully nobody cares.
look at that.
Oh yeah. Look at the grip strength on this guy. Unbelievable.
Oh, he's a pro.
It's a lemon
So-
squeezer.
Thank you.
Pro, look at that.
So don't do that at your bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome.
So this is a cobbler
Did you put a good
shaker.
amount of mezcal in there?
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm just checking.
A healthy dose.
Oh yeah.
Just checking. All right.
Yeah, sure. So we'll shake this sitting down.
There you go. I'm prepared for you.
What do you think? I'm going to make a mess?
No, so your hand.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
We were
you're welcome.
talking about that earlier.
What?
The segmented paper towels, the half paper towel. It's got to be mandatory. I mean, it has to be. You can't. You shouldn't. I don't even know what to do when I get a full paper towel, like the big sheet. I want the half sheet. Nobody needs
I'm
a
going
full sheet.
to taste test this on my own.
Should I
Sorry,
wear it?
guys.
This is high priming stuff. I don't know. I hope we get a lot of reaction from the paper towel comment because it's very important. Wow.
Yeah.
As always, direct comments to
I like wow.
Joe H. at StogieGeeks.com.
Oh yeah. If you want to direct any of your
Please,
show
yeah.
comments, please direct them to Joe H. at StogieGeeks.com.
That was Joe's idea. Joe's like, Jared, why don't you talk about paper towels when you get on the show? And I was like, I don't think that's necessary germane to the audience. Like, I don't think anybody is going to care. And Joe was like, no, I insist. So that's why I said it.
Jermaine, highly underutilized word.
Mm-hmm.
Solid.
Today on the Paper Towels and Vocabulary Show, featuring Paul from. Say his last name again, Joe.
Kubiski.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
I got you,
Just,
man. I got you.
just 3 pounds of poop in Joe's pants right now. Trying to say the last name.
Wow. Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Get a shovel.
Man.
There we go.
All right.
It's okay, Jared. Next segment's going to be all about you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Yeah. Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That is not what I expected at all.
No.
I expected it to be much more like brighter, like
Right,
this is
right.
really savory, like a true winter autumn cocktail.
Right.
It's really
Definitely
nice.
what I was going after. Now you could brighten it more if you prefer a little more citrus.
Yeah.
You could squeeze that hole in there with the four cocktails. Probably would have been fine. Mm-hmm. Just
So I'm just going to do what Paul Astorian does to me all the
Yep.
time.
A little touch up.
There you go.
would brighten that up a little bit if you prefer that way.
Yep.
There you go.
No, I think this is perfect. Exactly the way
Great.
that it is.
It's
So-
refreshing.
Yeah, and this was mezcal that you had up on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
You can get technical and say, gee, you need to pair it with this mezcal and that. The point is make cocktails at home.
Mhm.
Then you'll refine it to your palate. Because even if I could sit here and justify why I use a particular item, your palate is completely different than mine. So, and that's the whole point, just
Right.
like cigars.
Absolutely. Subjective, for sure.
What's coming up new, Bootblack? I heard
So-
that there's some rumor that there might be a fourth.
There is actually. There's a fourth and possibly a fifth and a sixth down the road.
Well played.
Like 2018?
2018. I try to do something every 6 months or so. I'm a little behind schedule because of the holidays. But right now we'll be hopefully coming out by the beginning of January with an old-fashioned syrup. So it'll be a true old-fashioned, rye, my syrup, and you're done.
Nice.
Just two
Wow, that
pots.
sounds awesome.
Make it really easy for you.
Yeah.
So we'll have the aromatic bitters in there that would replace your Angostura bitters. We'll have some citrus in there, a little bite, a lot of spice.
What do you do on Mondays at 2 normally?
Usually nothing.
All right.
Mondays are usually my day off.
Mondays is his day off.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the
so-
Stogie Geeks Bar, sponsored
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Bootblack.
There
You know,
go. I
Most
like
definitely.
It. You can do a cocktail
Cocktail of the
podcast.
week every week. Sure.
Well, cocktail of the week. We can get sponsors for that. We can figure
Yeah.
something out.
Most definitely.
So you're going to be
I'm in.
getting some more cocktail syrups into rotation
Yeah.
for 2018. What's the shelf life in regards to, so if the Stogie Geeks listener were to go to bootblackbrand.com and purchase this, can it stay in their bar for a year on their bar or what's
Unopened, it's an 18-month shelf life.
Okay.
Not open. Once you open it, 3 months, refrigerated door. It's the best place.
There's no way this is hanging around for anything beyond 3 months. Once you crack that
Well,
thing open, it's going to be good.
That's what I try to tell people.
Right.
It shouldn't hang around because besides making a cocktail, you can make sodas. So you can have a nice ginger ale if you just want to flavor some sparkling water with it. We cook with these. The ginger's awesome on salmon, glazed on salmon
oh,
with
I never
chicken.
even thought of that.
The cranberry's really nice fried chicken wings.
Wow.
Great glaze for that. So there's so many culinary uses. It should never sit around.
Right. I like it. What about what other than Joe's Empress Choice, Mezcal, and the Old Fashioned? What are some of the other for the Stogie Geeks listener who's listening at home who wants to try some of these? What else could it go
Could they
with,
make?
and what else could it pair with?
Well, if we go through the line, your ginger cardamom, my original product, is your Moscow Mule, which is vodka. Rum, be it dark and stormy. Bourbon is a Kentucky Buck or a Kentucky Mule, or an Old Fashioned. The cranberry jalapeno, tequila, mezcal, rum, likes its spice. Mezcal marries really well with the cranberry because it's savory. And then the tonic, your gin, rum, vodka tonics, also coffee and tonics, delicious. I do a rum and tonic with coffee float on top, which is incredible. So there's a lot of variety there, depending on what spirit. But they'll all work with your vanilla, with your vodka.
Okay.
Which is what we call vanilla. We call it tofu. It kind of marries with everything, right? Gin is fantastic, actually, with the cranberry, which you wouldn't think. But there is coriander and juniper berries in that, which marries well to that. Adds a brightness to it with the citrus. So there's a lot of variety there. And I'm sure there's a lot of uses that I haven't tried yet. There's just so much fun out there, so many spirits to try.
Right.
Yeah, it feels like if you like the flavor, just dump it into whatever you're drinking.
Give it a
and
try.
You're gonna like it.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
like we drink vodka soda. We were talking
Right.
about this earlier, Paul. My girlfriend and I, we drink vodka soda.
Right.
If I like any of these flavors, I'm just gonna dump it in with
Dump-
my vodka
right.
soda, and it's gonna be like
It's
citrus tonic vodka soda.
It'll be
or
palatable, and then from there you'll tweak it
Yeah.
every time you make it.
Yeah.
I had a man come up to me at a market a couple weeks ago. He goes, Bootblack cranberry. He goes, I put that in my bottle of rum. I pour a couple ounces in a bottle of rum, and that sits in my fridge, and that's all I drink.
No shit.
And I was like, that's great. So he's batching up basically
Right.
a cocktail,
Yeah. Right.
and that's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
I've done some experimentation myself, and
In college.
Yeah.
I've done some experimentation myself.
One time.
And tested it with the
Too
good
many
stuff.
daiquiris.
I've actually had it
Daiquiris
with
are awesome.
obviously I like the mezcal, but the rum, and definitely like a white tequila, like a Blanco tequila there too. There with just a scotch of soda water, and I mean it's great. It's just great flavor. It just adds to your current drink list, and if you're ever hosting a party or something of that nature, you owe it to yourself, and it's a good treat for yourself for sure. You know? I've done it with you remember we did an episode. You probably know the number because that's your speed, but the rum episode.
I do.
And we used the Papa's Pillar rum.
Yep.
So I actually had some of the Papa's Pillar and done that with the ginger one, and it was good.
Yeah.
I actually used because of the ratio, I actually used just a scotch of water.
Yeah.
Not tonic water.
Just
a scotch
water.
of water to kind of give
Brighten
it
it
some
up.
space.
Definitely.
And then it just brightened it right up,
Yeah.
and it was good.
Yeah.
It was good because the Papa's Pillar seemed to be like a darker rum.
Yeah, and
I
I always tell people I like to shake when I use my syrups, even though you don't need to. Just because I feel the effervescence, it just brightens it up. It opens up the syrup a little bit, and squeeze a little citrus. Citrus does wonders to a cocktail.
I had a preconceived notion coming in with the the syrups. I was like, it's gonna be thick and syrupy and all. Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Just two cocktails in here, smooth as all hell.
And you can order this stuff from your website online, correct?
You can. Yep.
Do you sell these, like these little size ones?
Those are actually leave behinds. I when I'm out on the road.
I was going to say this would be like a really good stocking stuffer
Yeah.
or something
Oh
like
my
God.
that for people this
Yeah.
time of year.
That's
Well,
good stocking
where-
stuffer too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
We're
well,
actually,
yeah.
yeah. We have that. We actually have a gift pack that will come out probably Wednesday. A couple of branded glasses, some nice letterpress coasters we just had done, and a bottle of your choice
Yeah.
of syrup. And we may do little stocking stuffers with the 3 syrups and the 2
I can see these in
bottles.
like, liquor stores do those baskets
Absolutely.
Yep.
left and right. These would be a great
Right.
little addition to a basket with like a artisan vodka, like a Boyd and Blair or
Right,
something like that.
right.
That would be really nice.
Nice introductory, sample all three. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And-
Down the road, hopefully, we're going to have a gift pack with a spirit company. I'm looking
be
into
really cool.
doing that, to do a Moscow Mule kit, margarita kit, and such.
Yeah.
So
What
We'll
would,
see.
which one would you pair with a margarita? The jalapeno?
the cranberry jalapeno.
Yeah, cranberry jalapeno. Yeah.
There's
sure.
a couple of restaurants doing that, doing the margaritas with the cranberry
Mhm.
in Rhode Island.
And you ship worldwide.
Nationally, yes.
You ship nationally. All right.
Right. If you want a pallet, I'm sure
Right,
he'll
right.
ship
If
it
you
to
want a
you.
powder, I'll ship
You
it
know.
to you.
I'm curious, you made
I
a,
know
right.
vendors that ship worldwide.
Yeah.
If you got the logistics, I'm in.
Yes. So
on the website there, you made a pretty significant dent, right hitting the home state of Rhode Island. I'm curious about, what challenges presented themselves with outside of the state. What are you getting into now? And I know you're making the dent as well, but where are we going?
Distribution is
Okay.
is big. It's going to be the Boston, Massachusetts in general. Boston it will be a significant market for us. We're in a few locations in Somerville, some specialty stores. We're in a cocktail store in Somerville, the Boston Shaker, which is awesome. You should always check out. If you need anything to do with cocktails, they're the place to be, and they sell a ton of my product because they're local people and they love local products. And that's the biggest thing that I have to say that I've come away with starting the year and a half in this business. Local people just so supportive.
Right.
To get you off the ground. It's a great state to start in. It's small. You can deal with it yourself as an individual person. It's getting, once you're outside, that the world looks a lot larger than you thought.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on now, distribution, talking to some distributors, hopefully catch on with a couple of significant. I'm lucky enough that my product can go liquor or specialty, so I can cover distribution in both ends, which is really good. But it's really bad too because of the type of product it is. It's such a niche market.
Yeah. Do you now everything is hand sold, basically? Like for you, you're out there, you're the sales force.
I have a distributor in Rhode Island that helps with sales, but then again, it's me.
Do you
It's
drop
me.
ship out of that distributor? Does that distributor handle all of your
Just
logistics
Rhode
for
Island.
you?
So he handles Rhode Island. Outside of Rhode Island, it's me.
Wow.
Currently sold on Cigar Shed or on the way?
Currently sold.
Oh, it's available on cigarshed.com. It's also available on bootblackbrand.com.
Beautiful.
And you definitely want to, you can sign up for your newsletter on Bootblack Brand.
Yeah, certainly can.
Which I definitely suggest that the Stogie Geeks listener goes to bootblackbrand.com, sign up for Paul's newsletter, and then you'll be in the know. If you own a retail shop and want to add a new dimension to your menu, it's definitely a great option. Goes very well with cigars. We can help you with some of the pairings here on the Stogie Geek Show for sure. Are you going to stick around for the next segment, Paul?
Sure.
Because then we're going to interview Jared.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
That's going to be fun.
Literally nothing to
That's
talk
going to be fun. It's going to be a great.
So
It's
you're
going to
gonna-
be
it's
great. When we
gonna
come
not
back,
be
we are
fun.
going to introduce Jared from Christoph Cigars, and we are going to talk all things Christoph. Paul, thank you for coming. That
Thanks
was
for having
Paul
me.
Kubiski
Thanks, Paul.
from
Man.
Thanks, sir.
Bootblack Brand.
Thank
Check
you.
him out,
man.
bootblackbrand.com.
Nice to meet
We're going to be
you all.
right back.